Warriors to give us overtime. It's not coming around, and the Warriors have got the ball back, and they have capped off a remarkable victory.
Hello and welcome to Thursday Lines. I'm Luke O'Brien, aka OB. Thursday Lines is brought to you by Little Birdie TV, topsport.com.au, Punting Form and Comics Lounge. We're another member short. Toprope has prioritised the golf over us, but MG is here and with us. And as I say, welcome to you, MG.
Hey, OB. Yeah, it's good to be here. Holding up the fort again.
It's a far better show without Toprope, let's be honest. But anyway, you've had a big week, mate. What's a few golf prizes here and there?
Yeah, I think a bit of anger come out, getting left off the tour late. OB went out, played a golf day at Northern for the sponsors here on my cap, Clutch & Co. They're the apparel sponsor for the boys on the Masters over there. So they're all playing a bit better golf with the Clutch & Co. But yeah, hosted a Tommy Sheridan from Oz America's Aces hosted out at Northern Golf Class there. So yeah, our group with LB, Little Birdie joined up with Jimmy from Royal Easies Burgers and managed to get the win. So won a few prizes and just getting us motivated for the Masters this week, even though not over there. We've got plenty of representation over there. And geez, reports over the first 3 days, it's been loose. Still in single figures for the hours slept so far, and they've into the fourth day. So it's a bit of carnage over there for the Little Birdie Tour.
I've heard they've gone hard early, so it's just a matter if they can keep it together. They've got a big 4 days of Masters golf ahead of them. So, just speaking of the Masters, who do you like there, MG?
Yeah, well, I did watch the. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Golf Masters podcast that the boys did yesterday, live from Augusta. So they, I think both Toprope and Dogger both come up with the same golfer there. You can see on the list Patrick Cantlay there on the fifth line at $21. Both come up with as their one of their main picks, both on Cantlay. So. Yeah, for anyone who follows the golf, I'm going to cheer home for one of the Aussies, hopefully. There's a few boys. I think there's 4 or 5 lads on the tours that were over there with me in 2013. So it's their 10-year anniversary to go back, and hopefully the second Aussie can go. So maybe Cam Smith and Jason Day are the chips. But yeah, from a betting point of view, OB, I think myself personally, even though he's one of the favourites, I think it's hard to go past Scotty Scheffler at about the $8.59. I just think he'll give you a show on the Sunday, and when he gets the job and done. But he just keeps winning, this bloke. He's like a good racehorse when they're in form. Nothing wrong with hitting the post first. So,
absolutely, he's in good touch.
Plenty of value. It'd be good to bet in the run. So check out the podcast for all the bets. And who do you like, OB?
I like Zalatoris. Yeah, Will Zalatoris. I think about $46 at this stage. I sort of fell in love with him with the full swing. He sort of made a bit of a cameo here and there, but
he was good.
Yeah, I like him. I want Brooks to come back into form. I think he's good for golf.
Yes,
he won last week, which should make things interesting as well. And I wouldn't mind seeing Rory complete the slam as well. So plenty of stories to play out at the Masters.
Yeah, just a note: nothing for the Irishman Seamus Power, who had I don't know if anyone has seen it. Woke up this morning, but the par 3 day was on. They had 5 aces for the day, and he's actually gone back-to-back par 3s on the 8th and 9th hole. So I'm not sure in the history of golf how many people go back-to-back in it's very hard to do in a normal course because you don't have back-to-back par 3s, but that is unbelievable to hit back-to-back hole-in-ones is crazy.
And who won the par 3?
Hogue.
Okay, so he can't win.
No, he can't win. He's actually a scratching in the betting.
That's right.
For those of the history of the Masters, no one has ever won the par 3 comp on the Wednesday and gone on to win the Masters. So it's a bit of problem there. So he's just scratched himself and left early.
Get on the plane and go home. Yeah, but anyway, it takes away a nice little prize there.
He does.
AFL news, bit happening in the last 24 hours as well around the Collingwood Football Club. We'll touch on that soon. But we'll touch on the good, the bad, the ugly, the good, the crowds. Third biggest start to a season after 3 rounds of the season. 6 and 9 results under 20 points. 5 of those low scoring but unders games. The bad, probably the injuries. West Coast especially. They've lost 7 players for sort of round 4, which could play into the betting. But it was
a lot of injuries going on really early in the year. The attrition rate's quite high. Highlighted probably by clubs like West Coast and St Kilda. West Coast, could lose up to 7 players going from round 3 to round 4. So
it's a quicker game. I think that there's a few bodies that are sort of taking their time to.
And the combination with the harder surfaces of coming out of, I guess, the autumn as well. There's a few people hitting the deck a bit hard, and as you said, the bodies. I know things like places like the Gabba. They always say it's very sore. You're very sore the next week after running around on places like the Gabba. So the attrition rate's probably pretty high at this stage.
Yeah, survival of the fittest and the ugly. I know you want to touch on something which we'll gloss over, but there's a couple
to pick from this week, isn't there?
No, there are.
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the late news coming out with Crisp in the video. I think that might be I don't know, from the early news, I think it's a bit of a beat up. It might sound like it's old news and someone's just kind of picked it up where Collingwood are going 3-0. It's amazing these things seem to come out, OB, when sides or players are flying. It seems to be, and what comes out of it. But yeah, I think the major talking point this week has obviously been talked to death is just the umpiring decision, how they go about it, the whole process of, unfortunately, if this all of a sudden now there's an accumulation rule, maybe by certain umpires, which, adds to the difficulty of the game. And I think overall, the umpire boss, Dan Rich, is obviously put in a difficult spot. He was more or less, would it look like he was marched out to answer some questions and stuff. But I just think whatever's going on behind the scenes, that if the objective is to make the fans appreciate the umpiring and how tough the job is better, I don't understand why they want to make rules come into play where it makes their job a lot harder. For myself, I just don't see. They've got a tough enough job as it is. As you said, I was speaking before the show started. Split decisions from 360, even though they've had an added umpire this year, which I think overall is working pretty well. I just think this is hopefully it's a one-off, and it is early in the season, but yeah, hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt a team like the Giants. It didn't cost them the result. It had an influence on it, but yeah, it's a bad look for the game. And I think when that there's bad decisions, they're talked about often. So I think the AFL would be wise maybe just to sweep this one under the carpet and move on. I just don't think there needs to be an accumulation of saying that these players have been talking in my ear all day and all of a sudden it gets to a third or fourth quarter and they want to pay it because it's a pile-up effect. The umpires should just be in the present, pay the decisions that are there in front of them, and not be a part of the game.
The easiest thing to do is respect the umpires. They're there to do a job.
Yep.
Respect them, and it all goes away. Anyway, big winners of round 3, probably Melbourne, I'd say, destroyed the Swans.
I think, we're looking forward to that game. They came out and went right on the job. It was a pretty solid 4-quarter effort.
As we looked around the round 3 results, the Bulldogs, a bit of an upset over your Lions. Collingwood were very sharp against Richmond. And then, Hawks and the Kangas down in Tassie.
Yeah, I thought, Thursday night just keeps disappointing, really. We've had 3 pretty ordinary games, very low scoring. I don't know what's going on with the Thursday nights. They get the big stage and they seem to put out an ordinary performance. I went to the game, OB. I was there live, and, geez, I expected a much better performance from both teams. I know the Bulldogs get away with the win, but, yeah, geez, the turnover rate and everything was pretty ordinary. The kicking for goal, walked away wanting my money back, I think. The Collingwood-Richmond game, obviously that was affected by weather, so that wasn't more of a standard thing. It was more due to the elements, but yeah, Collingwood got the job done. Richmond tried hard, they kept coming, so both can be okay with that game. Hawthorn, bit of an upset on the Kangaroos. The bubbles burst a bit for the Kangaroos, as they said.
So their 2 best midfielders out didn't help.
No, the 2 late outs of Simpkin was already out, and then Davis Uniacke on top was they both come back for the Kangaroos this week. Carlton GWS is average standard game for mine. GWS tried hard all day and Carlton just got the result. St Kilda, Essendon.
Flying the Saints. Flying. We'll have a look at the premiership market in a minute. They'll be right in.
They won't be. But yeah, no, not a bad game. It was a bit up and down. It's kind of Essendon flattered themselves in the end. I think they kicked a few late goals to even up the scoreboard. But yeah, St Kilda, for the amount of injuries they've got going, unbelievable. The showdown was Well, very good for Adelaide. They ran out really strong in the last quarter after Port challenged them. So, yeah, Port, a bit of pressure going on to them now as they travel to Sydney. Gold Coast in the upset against Geelong, and now puts them in a hole of 0-3, which we'll speak about later. As you said, Melbourne, I think, were the winners of the round 3. They were devastating. As the longer the game went, the better they were. Put 134 points on Sydney does not happen often. And the derby over in the West was as expected, I think. I think West Coast, obviously, with the amount of injuries they're heading towards the bottom 4 for sure, and Freo needed a win to get on the board. So, yeah, overall, pretty good round 3 and plenty of interesting results.
As we have a look at the AFL round 3 betting stats, favourites 4 from 9, covered the line 3 of 9, the over total 4 of 9, still a little bit low scoring. The home team 7 and 9, which sort of goes to show the home team a bit of favouritism there. And the season 12 on 27 favourites, cover the line 11 of 27, the over total 15 of 27, and the home team still 18 of 27 there.
Definitely bookies on top through 3 rounds. As you can see, the outsiders are getting the job done. So big for multi players for the books, and it's pretty high scoring overall. The totals are run at 55%. So yeah, good to see after 3 rounds. But yeah, the bookies are definitely in front of the punters.
I know we don't have Toprope here, but we need to touch on it. We need to put this in the vault. But the West Tigers, if they're not the most worst run club in Australian sporting history, I don't know who is. Now, they're going awful on field. They've rehired Tim Sheens, who is 95 years old and probably doesn't know how to see a game properly.
Right.
And then they've now put out an Anzac commemorative jersey.
Just off their own bat.
With a American helicopter and American soldiers on it. And then at the launch of the jersey, they have an Englishman.
Right.
An Englishman launching it. Like, come on. Like, this is... So now... And then they lied and said that the Holsworthy Army Barracks have ticked it off.
Yes, I saw that.
And they're redesigning the jersey as we speak. That is an absolute disgrace. And to throw on top of that, the CEO's out there throwing balls in the warm-up. Mate, get your off-field stuff right and get off the ground. It is an absolute disgrace, and I need Toprope. But this is I miss Toprope for this. He would go off the long run. It is an absolute farce, that club.
We'll put it in the ugly for next year. I mean, they come off the Manly jumper disgrace last year as well with all that. So, yeah, they've got some issues, the NRL.
Oh,
it's not unlike them, though.
No, but as we have a look at the NRL scores for round 5, Roosters 28 to the Eels 20. It was a pretty good game. Early on last weekend. The Panthers just destroyed the Raiders. Bit of animosity there with
piled it on late.
Jamin Salmon just scoring a try late to stick it up old Sticky Ricky. The Storm were too good for the Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs a little bit disappointing. The Sea Eagles and the Knights had a draw, an unexpected draw.
Well, yeah, sorry to interrupt. This is what I want to bring up. I think that the Toprope took a fair swing at the AFL first up when they had a draw, and he was talking about don't get an outcome and stuff like that. So maybe we'll just shelve this one as well when the great man returns from the Masters. That even with Golden Point, they can't find a result in the NRL. Happy to walk off with a draw. So we'll just note that down for Toprope next week.
And Cameron Smith has also said that he doesn't like Golden Point. He prefers the draw. The Dragons 38-12 over the Dolphins. Dolphins got a few injuries in the Dragons. Anthony Griffin's still under the pump even after that win.
You off the Finns? You off the Finns?
No, Finns up. No, right. We'll be right. We'll be right. I think they're just catching up with them a little bit now. The Finns up. The Broncos, top of the table.
And scoring plenty. Are they an overs team? Yeah.
Ren Diggity just scoring them up. The Warriors, an upset win over the Sharks there late in the game.
Big comeback too. They were down 20-0.
20-0 down they were, and they came back in the driving rain.
Yes.
And the Bulldogs, that was a cracking game. Matt Burton with the long-range field goal.
Yes.
A little bit of a comedy of errors towards the end there. But, that was a great round of NRL action. As we look at the round 5 NRL stats, see how the big Toprope's going. I know he's not going too well over there, but favourites 4 from 8. covered the line 4 of 8, the over total 6 of 8. So a bit more scoring this week. So I'm glad Toprope's not on. Yeah, I'm glad Toprope's not on to gloat about that. Home team 4 of 8, 50%. As we look at the season, he started well, old Toprope. He came out of the guns, but as we look at, we'll touch on that a bit later. But we look at the season stats. The favourites 22 of 40, the cover the 17 of 40, the over total 19 of 40. So that's even after this week, that's sort of still low. And the home team 25 of 40. So anything to take out of those ones, MG?
No, bookies are on top as well to start the season. Just with 4 out of 8's pretty even. That's a pretty good week for the bookies and how the season's running overall. But yeah, good to see they got the memo and there was plenty of high scoring games. And for a guy who loves to watch the NRL, I like to see scoring. I don't like soccer as a general rule. So yeah, it was excellent to see a lot of 30-30 games, a couple of 40, so it was good.
Now it's time for Thursday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. As we whip into the AFL Premiership prices, the Magpies and the D's equal favourites at $4.80. As you can see, you've jumped on both with the jumpers in the background. Carlton $7.50. The Cats out to 9 and the Lions and the Swans at $9.50. The Tigers, the Dockers and Port Adelaide in double figures.
Yeah, getting plenty of feedback and our memorabilia guy sent over the 2 jumpers for me. He reckons there's only 2 in it, so he's given me these to put in the background for the rest of the year. He thinks it's Melbourne and Collingwood and the rest can feed themselves at the moment. So yeah, I actually think in terms of the betting prices at the moment, I think even though Melbourne are equal favourite around that 480 mark, I just think with their draw now open right up and with a lot of clubs have got their issues, pros and cons. I just think, Melbourne might be almost worth a ticket, just in terms of, I think they might shorten a point or so, point and a half, all the way up to the bye round. So, yeah, if I was having one pick this week, I'd almost pick Melbourne. I just think they're, even though they've lost Maxi for probably another month, I think they're going unbelievable.
Well, Brody Grundy was pretty good last week, so he's a very handy replacement. As we have a look at the AFL Stings start to the season, round 3, 4 of 5, unit bets 11.5. The result plus 6.43 and the profit on turnover plus 55.9%, if you don't mind. And the season 13 and 5, 40 units bets plus 14.95 as a net result, and the POT plus 37, just over tick over 37%. So solid start to the Stings there, MG.
Yeah, no, very good start. A bit like Toprope. The first month is generally where people who have got a good handle on it or do the research early and stuff like that can get a bit of a jump on the season. So, yeah, no, very happy with that. Won't be handing back that start. And, in what's been a bookie's first 3 weeks, pretty happy to be dodging the bullets and just fighting away. So, 13 wins and 5 losses, good start. Let's hope it continues this week.
Now, we don't have Toprope. He's over at the US Masters and a beautiful US Masters podcast from over there yesterday. But as we have a look at the NRL Premiership prices, the Panthers, $4 favourites there. The Roosters, $4.80. Broncos at the $7 mark. They've come in a few points there. The Storm, you can't rule them out, $9.50. The Rabbitohs are friendless and drifting. They're at 10s, and the Sharks and the Sea Eagles are probably the only 2 that you could see. The Warriors, who Toprope did tip as the wooden spooner. There on the front line of the first page of betting there, MG.
Yeah, got off to a crazy start, the Warriors. But, I think I'm just waiting for Toprope to signal the time to get on the Storm. I don't think it's too far away. They've had a bit of a rough patch to start with, but I think it's turning, players coming back. So, yeah, we'll be diving into the Melbourne Storm at some stage.
I saw the Pappenhausen just running with Joel Selwood the other day, so he can't be too far away for Pappy. Once he's back, where we'll jump back on the Storms. We look at the GGOA for round 5. They were 3 of 5, 15.5 units bet. Just a little bit down there, but minus 2.13, and profit on turnover down 13.74, and the season still ticking away nicely, 21 and 14, 83 units bets, plus 14.01 of the result, and the POT plus just under 17%. 17% there. So he started well, but once he gets back from Augusta, it's all systems go and we'll be right back into it. if he comes back at all. The way he was talking yesterday, very croaky. He just can't handle it. The boy from Orange, he goes over there, gets excited. But just a reminder, if you haven't signed up to the GGOA or the AFL Stings, they're available in the Little Birdie Live shop for all your AFL and NRL betting markets. As we have a look at the Thursday night clash in the AFL, it's the Lions $1.95 against the Magpies $1.85. The line 2.5 over under 174.5. Bit to play out in this one, I think, in the next little while, and be interesting to see what happens just before the bounce as well, MG.
Well, hopefully Chris stays in and plays, but he might be laid out for this one. But yeah, I think
just on that, imagine he's played 191 consecutive games. Imagine telling his grandkids, "Oh, well, how'd your streak break?" Yeah, okay, just send a couple of little pickies to a few people.
Well, hopefully he stays and plays because he's certainly going well at the moment. So it'd be a bad loss for him to come out. But yeah, interesting matchup. This it's I'm kind of surprised that I come up actually Brisbane slight favourite in this OB. Brisbane being back at the Gabba, completely different beast. They've won 11 of their last 13 at home, so they've got a good record. And this is the first time Collingwood are going on the road. They've had all 3 games from the MCG, so that's got to count for something. It's going to be a really hot day as well today, so humidity at night could be a bit slippery as well. But yeah, I think that'll have some impact on the Pies. And they were only average last week against Richmond. I know the conditions, but maybe just plateauing a little bit. And this is a big game for Brisbane. They've had a lot of ordinary press going around them after being dismal last Thursday. So I think the bounce back factor here for Brisbane. And I think regardless of Chris coming in or out, I would be surprised if they don't really even up in the betting. But yeah, I've got Brisbane slight favourite. I think from the stats, 4 or 5 when they've played each other that Brisbane have covered, won 4 straight against Collingwood, and they've also won 8 straight Brisbane off a loss. So their bounce back is pretty big. So in terms of the total points here, I thought it was pretty high, 177 when it opened. Now it's down to 174. The history's got Brisbane 6 of 7 over at the Gabba. So, expect points, but I'm just worried about the humidity. So it's probably a wait and see on the total. But yeah, I favour Brisbane in this game.
And the lights will stay on, mark my words. They've been working on them all week. Energex is up there.
They've paid up?
Yeah, they've paid up. They've paid the bill. They'll be on. As we look at the first game of NRL action, it's the Storm and the Roosters. The Storm $1.70 against the Roosters $2.15. The line -2.5 over under 39.5. Toprope has been good enough to give us his preview from the Masters.
Very difficult game to start the week. Storm, Roosters, no Tedeschi for the Roosters. Marner's got a good record back there, but there's no Teddy. Storm, the one covered 5 of the last 6 against the Chooks, probably leaning a little bit towards the Storm, laying a small number here.
Dead set. Was that weekend at Bernie's or was that Toprope? He does not look well at all. He looks like he's in an ancient castle and he's in the Mediterranean somewhere, not the US Masters. What he's doing.
Jeez.
Oh, God. He's got a lot of explaining to do when he gets home.
Masters hasn't even started.
And he's cast.
I hope his life insurance is paid up.
Oh, God. Saturday afternoon, big game at the MCG. Sees the Tigers $1.48 against the Western Bulldogs $2.55. The line -11.5. The over-under 164.5. You're in slightly better nick than Toprope. What do you think, MG?
I'm always in better nick than Toprope. I'd be worried if I wasn't. Looking forward to this game, actually. At the MCG, I think it favours Richmond definitely going back to the MCG. The general rule, they obviously play well there, and the Bulldogs dislike the MCG. They like the indoor confines of Marvel Stadium. So, yeah, I think it's a big factor in this, playing at the MCG. And early 8-point game for these two sides. It's kind of shaping up where I'm not sure both of them can necessarily make the finals. I know it's early in the year, but, yeah, they'll see each other as a big win to get over the other. I think with Richmond having Martin and Hopper come back into the lineup as well, will be big ins for them. Interesting enough, the underdog, stats-wise, the underdogs covered the last 9 in this, so brings the Bulldogs into it. Hard to make a play. I think the bookies have got the market right around the 11 or 12 line, so it's not a betting game for me in terms of the line betting. But, I was really keen on the total here, OB. The bookies, either they don't check the weather or they misread it, one of the two, because they open up 170.5. It's just insane. I couldn't get the bet out quick enough, get the guys on a Monday betting. So, very, very, I think a free leg up to start the week, actually 170.5. It's now moved down as low as 162.5, 164. And if the current weather holds tomorrow, it'll get to 160 below. So, yeah, keen on the under. I'm not sure I can tip you in at this stage, but, yeah, if you'd followed the Stings and you get the early, then it's what you get the benefit for. So, staying out of the line, Richmond under.
Beautiful. And Simon O'Donnell's son has actually signed for the Western Bulldogs. He's been playing some Premier cricket.
Right.
He's 197 centimetre. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes in the coming years. As we look at the Panthers and the Sea Eagles, this is a Saturday middle game on Saturday, 5:30 kickoff. Panthers $1.32, the Sea Eagles $3.40, the line -9.5, over under 42.5. As we cross over to Toprope to see what he has to say.
Yeah, all over Penrith Panthers this afternoon, laying in 9.5. They had a great record against Manly. They absolutely fly at Bluebets team, coached 15 of 21 and favored by 6.5 or more. Big spot teams off absolutely flogging teams in the early part of the season, giving Penrith -9.5. Huge bet.
Oh, he's seen the sights of the countryside there. Beautiful birds. Was it twerping in the background? Is that what you say? Twerping?
He'll be at Eamon Corner the next shot.
Oh, God. I'm eager to get back to him as soon as we can. Essendon GWS on Sunday, 2:10 at Marvel Stadium. The Bombers $1.48, the Giants $2.55, the line -12.5. Over under 175.5. Bombers were a bit disappointing last week. Giants were a bit unlucky in a scrappy game up there. Which way you're leaning here, MG?
Yeah, it's not two of my favourite sides, but yeah, no, it should be a good match. I think GWS here at the value, I think would be the play. I don't mind the line here, and also the stats. The GWS have won 4 straight against Essendon. So I think it brings them right in. And long term, they've won 8 of the last 13. So they've got the short and the long history covered, and they've got a good 8-5 record at covering. So if anything, they've got the wood over Essendon. The Dome, I don't think will cause too many issues for them if it suit. I had GWS about +6.5. So happy to tip the Giants getting about a goal above there. So I think that's a play there. The worry for me is that the Giants have now lost 11 straight against final 8 teams, which is not a great stat, but I'm not sure I'm exactly counting Essendon as a top 8 team, so not sure that stat holds true for this week. But yeah, the play in this week, I'm going to the totals again, OB, over 170.5 at the Dome. I think was keen to play this again on the Monday, so yeah, those advantage who do get the stings and the tips early. There's only one-way traffic since it is now up to 175, 176, so you're already a goal in front. I think I'd be surprised if this doesn't close to 180, people who still want to bet, but yeah, definitely play on the over. I think there'll be points in this game. So.
Beautiful. Knights and the Warriors, Sunday late game there. The Knights $1.95, the Warriors $1.85. The line's even, and the over-under 42.5 as we eagerly await to see where Toprope gives us his preview from.
Yeah, found the late Sunday afternoon game very hard to bet. Newcastle, New Zealand. No lean either side. The Warriors are short enough. I know they've been in good form, but short enough in a straight hit, $1.90. Leave me out of that. No confidence in Knights. So I think I'm going to bet in this game probably the under. There's some decent under angles here. Wait to see on weather, but yeah, no early bet here for that.
I need to turn the volume up a little bit there, Toprope, but that's all right. We'll get through it as best we can as we quickly go through the remaining 5 NRL games. The Good Friday game, the Bulldogs $3.60, the Rabbitohs $1.29, the line 10.5, the over-under 41.5. What are your thoughts there, Toprope?
Yeah, I think the plus here is too big. Bulldogs and the Rabbitohs, not a lot of respect. The Bulldogs got a lot of injuries to their middles, but plus 11.5 at home in a rivalry game. Big home underdogs picking up a win early in the year with great record, so they're going to be taking the plus 11.5 with a good degree of confidence, yeah.
I can see Toprope's done his early form indoors and his later form outdoors. The Cowboys $1.29 against the Finns up $3.60, the line -11.5, over under 42.5. What's Toprope thinking?
Yeah, North Queensland Dolphins. Cowboys playing a fairly big number here. Dolphins been ravaged by injury at the moment. Particularly the halves, leaning towards the minus here, but can't get too excited. No big game for me.
Can't get too excited. Sounds like it. Broncos $1.18 against the Canberra Raiders, $4.90. The line -14.5, over under 45.5. Let's see if Toprope's still alive with this one.
Yeah, I think this game. Canberra were very disappointing last week, getting a big number. This week against the Broncos, who are unbeaten, absolutely flying. Got to lean towards the Raiders here at the plus if they've got any pride at all. Huge underdogs, particularly off getting flogged, have a great record this time of year. So leaning towards the big plus here.
The Titans $1.77 against the Dragons 2.05. The line minus 1.5 over under 47.5. Which way is Toprope leaning?
Yeah, with the Gold Coast here, big. Dragons do not back up form well. They were very good last week against the Dolphins, but rarely put two together. They are very poor travellers, come to 7 of 21 interstate. Titans, they won their last 10 at home as a home favourite. I'll be taking probably not laying a small number here, but just doing take the $1.70, $1.75 available on the Titans. So chips and Titans here.
How's the voice on that? Oh, goodness gracious me. West Tigers $4.30 against the Eels $1.22. That's the Easter Monday clash. The line 12.5 over under 45.5. Let's see how Toprope's voice is standing out for this one.
Finishing off this week with the Easter Monday clash. Tigers and Parramatta. Tigers in a huge number here. Got to be with them. Parramatta, poor at Acor, poor as a favourite. Tigers, I'm not even playing the same league. They've been absolutely dreadful this year, but I think they can cover this number. This is a real do or die game for them. So give me the plus 13.5 the Tigers.
Oh, that is a classic Toprope there. But hope he's having fun over the US Masters. Reminder there are the Masters stings as well as the GGOA in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your NRL betting action for $33 a week. And he has been on fire there. As MG, we whip through the 6 remaining AFL games. The Good Friday clash is the Kangaroos at $4.40, the Blues at $1.19, the line 25.5 and over under 167.5. What's doing here?
Yeah, it's a decent line here. Good Friday match. Got a different opponent this time in the Kangaroos. The big ins for North, Simpkin and Davies Jr. coming back in. So, I can't really find a bet in the line, but if I was going to shade, I'd be shading to North Melbourne side. Big line at 25.5. The concern with me with the Kangaroos is just how they're going to stop with Lowe out and McKay not coming up, is how they're going to stop his brother, McKay and Curnow. So if they allow Cripps to run right in the midfield and they get enough supplies, I think that's going to be the Achilles heel for North. So it might be a tough one, but I think the unders are play here, under 168.5. I think there's a little gap there for punters. 2 ordinary sides. Carlton love to shut the game down, so I don't think there'll be too much scoring.
As we look at the next game, it's the Crows $1.70 against the Dockers 2.08. The line minus 3.5 over under 159.5. The Dockers are in Adelaide for the whole week, leading into gather round as well, which might make it interesting next week for the Dockers.
2-week holiday, like it. I had the Dockers favourite in this game, so I am with the Dockers at plus 3.5. I know they've got to travel to Adelaide, but I think they're a better side than Adelaide. I think Adelaide are on the way up, but Freo would definitely mark this one as in the win column. I'm surprised that the market and the bookies have continued that way. So I know Freo are off a 6-day break and they've got to travel. If you remember last year, they played an unbelievable 1-point game, I think, where the Freo guy knocked it back off the line to hold on to the win. So they like a close contest, but I like Fremantle staying out of the total.
Beautiful. As we look to the next game of AFL action, for the punters out there, the Swans $1.35, the Power 3.05, the line minus 18.5, the over under 174.5. The Power needs to do something and need to do something quickly.
Yes, the pressure is mounting quickly, and I think the death knells come out when the president comes out and says the coach is safe. Never goes well for the poor coach. But I think, they were both disappointing last week. They both got blown out in the fourth quarters. Melbourne absolutely crushed Sydney as the longer the game went. Adelaide, after Port challenged them, put them away as well. So both on the rebound factor here. Sydney off a 6-day break. Sydney at home have won 9 straight, so I think that's a key factor. And also at night, they've covered 6 straight as well, Sydney. So even though the line's 19.5, I just think Sydney have probably got the win in them. Whether they can cover the 19.5 is yet to be determined. But I think the play here is the total over 170.5. It's moved to 174. I think it'll keep continuing a little bit. I just think there's points in this game. Port have had 8 straight over games now, so they do like to score. Average so far, Sydney have been in 181-point games, and Port are averaging 200. So I think there'll be plenty of points at the SCG, like the over.
As we look at the mighty Sainers against the Gold Coast Suns, the Sainers $1.48, the Suns $2.55, the line minus 12.5, over under 161.5. I don't bet, but I like the Suns.
You like the Suns? You are a fan of the Suns. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, OB. Even though St Kilda, 3-0, they're undefeated. Got a bit of a poor win against Essendon last week, and the Suns got over the Cats to get their first win on the board. Stat-wise, St Kilda have won 7 straight head-to-head. They're on the confines of the Dome. They do have a lot of injuries, but they have covered 4 straight as well, the Saints. So the stats are probably with them. The Gold Coast also off a 6-day break and have to travel as well. So that's always a factor for me. I don't think there's too many points in this game. Totals 7 of 9 going under. So the way St Kilda do love to shut down the game. Always
close games though. The Saints and the Suns.
Yeah, I think that's what the punting public sees. So they opened 16.5 in this, and now it's down to 12.5 OB. So the punting public agree with you, and I think, as you said, they shut it down low total. I think the game could be tight. So yeah, if you're going to have a bet on the line, it'd be Gold Coast and shade the under.
West Coast versus Melbourne is the Sunday night game. The Eagles $8, injury ravaged against the Demons, who are looking sharp. $1.06, the line 44.5, over under 174.5.
Complete mismatch. Melbourne do have to travel to Perth, which is never ideal. The line's already jumped from 42.5 to 44. It's probably about right. It's pretty hard to tip a side away from home going to Perth at the 44, but this could be a bashing. West Coast have just got no players left. They could lose up to 7 players from last week. Just carnage for them. They've lost 19 of their last 21. It's hard to make a case for West Coast, and if Melbourne don't treat it as a getaway holiday, they could put up a big number here. So yeah, hard to tip, but yeah, this could be destruction for West Coast.
The final game for AFL Round 4 is the Easter Monday clash. The Cats $1.16, the Hawks $4.80, the line -30.5. The over-under not up yet, as it is a long way out from the game. Probably just look at conditions and look at team selection there, MG.
Yeah, early markets suggesting the total's about the 167 mark at the moment, and with weather on the way forecast, I think it's a wait and see on the total at this stage. Interesting, there's no panic yet in the Geelong camp, even though they're 0-3. Definitely wouldn't want to drop this game, but they've got Hawthorn and West Coast in the next 2 weeks, so I think they'll just find a way to balance up, and then in a fortnight's time we won't be worried about them. They'll be back at 2 and 3, so I think they'll get the job done. The line's pretty much where I thought it may be. I thought it'd come back a little bit, open 32.5, now down to 30. It may creep into the high 29. So if you do like Geelong, I'd suggest wait until Monday to bet. And if you like Hawthorn, you're probably better off betting early. But for the stats-wise, Geelong, 7 out of 8 day games they've won at the G, so they really do play well there. And Hawthorn have covered 7 of the last 8 against Geelong. So these two have got obviously a long history. They don't like each other, and a lot of the games do come down to close results. So I think the line will keep trickling down for that, and I'd stay tuned to the weather. Also, if the weather does hold this current forecast, you'd expect the line to keep coming back to fall in line with the total if it's going to be a wet day as well. So wait and see on that game for Easter Monday.
Beautiful. Thank you, MG. A reminder, AFL Sting's available for $25 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your AFL betting action. That's a wrap for this week's Thursday Lines. Thanks to MG, and thanks for a croaky Toprope for sending through his analysis for us.
Hope he survives.
Hopefully he comes back next week in good nick. We've got plenty to discuss and plenty to get into him about. A reminder, you can follow us on YouTube. You can find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, wherever you listen to all your good podcasts. You can follow at Little Birdie TV on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. Join us next week. Punt well, punt responsibly. Have a great weekend, punters, and have a very happy Easter.